Predator is one of the oldest sci-fi franchises out there. It was born in the same era as the legendary Alien, and almost instantly became a cult classic.
He is hunting us. All of us.
Predator blended a classic action movie with science fiction and the raw, primal feel of a hunt.
What happened? I saw it. You saw what? I saw it.
John McTiernan didn't just create an alien hunter. He crafted an icon that stood in pop culture for decades, right alongside the Xenomorph in the Terminator.
One ugly motherfucker.
But as years went by, Predator went through some rough times. After a brilliant start, the franchise began to stumble. Predator 2 barely made its money back, though today it's seen as a cult gem. Predators, first written by Robert Rodriguez, tried to revive the spirit yet got mixed reviews. Prey went viral but divided fans. Then came the 2018 Predator. So bizarre it made viewers wonder, do you even know what you're doing with this character? There were also Alien crossovers that got mixed reactions, often seen not as canon, but as fan fiction. And now, against that backdrop, comes Predator Badlands. A film that finally does what the franchise hasn't managed in years. It brings a new take, a new tone, a new kind of drama, and reshapes the Predator lore at its very core. The film exceeded all expectations, earning $40 million in its US opening weekend and setting a new record for the franchise. But at the same time, it enraged longtime fans who saw it not as evolution, but as decline.
You set us up! It's all bullshit! All of it!
In this video, I'll break down what exactly changed in Predator, why some call Badlands the best film since the original, while others see it as the end of the Predator we've known for 40 years. We'll revisit the story behind the alien hunter, how James Cameron accidentally shaped its design and explore historical parallels, talk about the cute creature from the movie and the synthetic Taya played by Elle Fanning, who links the Predator and Alien universes. We'll see what truly worked, what didn't, and most importantly, what's next for one of the oldest sci-fi franchises. Despite the backlash from longtime fans, it's impossible to ignore the new Predator's strengths. With its strong box office debut and plenty of positive reviews, it's clear the praise didn't come from nowhere. That's why this review is split into two parts. First, we'll look at what the film genuinely gets right, and later, move on to the fair and well-reasoned criticism. If you're among those who dislike the movie, you can use the timestamps to skip straight to the negatives. But I recommend coming back to the first part afterward. It'll give you a fuller picture of the film. Looking back, the Predator franchise began almost by accident. A project no one expected to succeed. For director John McTiernan, it was only his second film. And the Thomas brothers who wrote the script were complete unknowns, struggling for years to sell it. Eventually, they just slipped it under producer Joel Silver's door. And surprisingly, he liked it. No one imagined the idea would become such a hit, but it did. With a tiny budget of 15 to 18 million, barely enough to shoot one decent episode of a modern series, the movie grossed over 98 million, more than 5 times its cost. Its success came from timing. The idea fit perfectly into the era's craze for military themes and bodybuilding culture. Rambo and Commando had already hit the screens, and muscled heroes in combat gear had become pure mainstream. But the Thomas brothers had a great idea. Gather these tough, muscular guys in the jungle, arm them to the teeth, and pit them against an alien who came to Earth just to hunt. And the idea worked perfectly. Watching the toughest men on Earth tremble before an unknown threat was thrilling for its time. Predator instantly became part of pop culture, and of course, a sequel was only a matter of time. The 1990 sequel moved the story to a grim Los Angeles, where the Predator faced street gangs and a cop played by Danny Glover. It was brutal, dark, and unusual for mainstream audiences. The film didn't flop, but couldn't match the first one's success. The budget grew while box office dropped. That forced the studio to rethink the franchise's direction. The following years were strange. Predator moved into comics where he first met the xenomorph. It seemed too crazy for a movie, but it happened. In the early 2000s came two Alien vs. Predator crossovers. The first was a flashy ride. Fans complained, but still watched. It earned over $170 million, proving the brand was alive. The second, Requiem, drowned in darkness, grain, and odd directing, yet still made its money back. Studios learned one thing: the name Predator still sold tickets. In 2010, Predators hit theaters with a solid cast: Adrian Brody, Walton Goggins, Lawrence Fishburne. An attempt to return to the roots, but without Schwarzenegger. It did fine, yet lacked something. Maybe that raw primal spark of the original. Attempt number 4. The 2018 Predator. A completely different film, lighthearted, almost comedic, and full of odd story choices. For loyal fans, it felt like the final nail in the franchise's coffin. Yet Predator wasn't dead. In 2022 came Prey, a minimalist story set in the 18th century, where primal skills clash with alien technology. Prey cost around $65 million and never hit theaters. It was a streaming release on Hulu. There's no box office record, but it became Hulu's most successful premiere ever. Dan Trachtenberg got the green light as the man who could breathe new life into the franchise. In 2025, he released the animated film Predator: Killer of Killers. And soon after, theaters saw a new film, Predator: Badlands. So why can Predator: Badlands be seen as a turning point that changed everything? There are several reasons. First, the franchise came back to life. After Prey, it felt like Predator was stuck in place. Sure, Prey got a warm reception, but it didn't bring anything truly new. Same jungle, same alien hunter arriving to hunt. Only the century had changed. Fans even joked, calling it Predator versus Indians. Badlands, however, didn't repeat that formula. In the original Predator, viewers shared the primal fear of the unknown. But you can't scare twice with the same trick. The mystery was gone. So Dan Trachtenberg took a different path. He expanded the universe's lore. For the first time, we saw the Predator's home planet. Their code, their motives, traditions, and even language. And for the first time, the Predator isn't the antagonist, but the main character. A bold twist. The concept itself shifted. In the first film, the Predator was the terrifying unknown, but here, he's the one facing it. The roles of hunter and prey were deliberately reversed. The genre also changed completely. The first film was essentially a sci-fi horror, while Predator: Badlands is more of a road buddy movie. This hybrid genre combines a road movie, a journey story, and a buddy movie focused on two unlikely companions whose relationship evolves along the way. Think of Green Book as a typical example. So yes, Predator: Badlands really did change everything. It's a completely different film, a risky experiment. Surprisingly, many fans appreciate it. It wasn't handled poorly either. We got a vast, deadly world with its own wild ecosystem where every plant and creature wants to kill you. At times it gives off strong Dune and Avatar vibes. The action is more inventive, and overall the movie feels grand and alive with the thrill of an unknown world. But most importantly, the characters. Each one hides more depth than it first seems. Let's start with the predator himself. The story of the predator should start from the very beginning, from the moment he first appeared. Interestingly, he wasn't even supposed to be called Predator at all. The original script by Jim and John Thomas was titled Hunter. But since there was already a TV show in the US with that name, the studio decided to avoid confusion and changed it to Predator, though Hunter would have actually captured the meaning more precisely. The creature's design is just as fascinating. By pure chance, James Cameron himself influenced how the predator looks. Here's how it happened. The design was created by the late Stan Winston, a true legend in Hollywood. You may not know his name, but he was an Oscar-winning master of makeup and special effects. The man behind Alien, Star Wars, Batman Returns, Jurassic Park, Constantine, Transformers, Iron Man, and of course Terminator and Terminator 2. He even designed the Terminator endoskeleton. In the 90s, Winston and Cameron co-founded Digital Domain, one of the leading visual effects studios in the world, and it was Winston who designed the Predator. He once recalled a flight with Cameron where they were discussing aliens. We were sitting side by side and I was sketching the Predator. And Jim said, "You know, I've always wanted to see something with mandibles." Mandibles are paired jaws found in arthropods, insects, crustaceans, and centipedes. Winston liked the idea, and that's how the Predator got his iconic mandibles, one of the most recognizable features of his face. So in a way, the Predator owes his look quite literally to James Cameron.
One ugly motherfucker.
But what happened to the Predator next is even more interesting, because the character we know today largely exists thanks to one unexpected player. The comic book publisher Dark Horse. If you're not into comics, the name Dark Horse might not ring a bell. You've definitely heard of Marvel and DC, which dominate the market, but in the 1980s it was tough for smaller publishers to compete with those giants. That's why founder Mike Richardson named his company Dark Horse as a symbol of an underdog suddenly breaking through with impressive results. And yet, it was Dark Horse that gave us the expanded universes of both Predator and Alien. In fact, the two first crossed paths not on screen, but in Dark Horse comics. Our focus, though, is the Predator himself. While Stan Winston created his creature purely from imagination and sci-fi aesthetics, the Dark Horse writers took the concept further. They drew parallels to real historical warriors and gradually built on the mythology. Many of the elements we now call the Yautja lore were born in Dark Horse stories. Dan Trachtenberg went even further. In interviews, he admitted he was primarily inspired by Spartan society, and indeed, Spartan ideals fit the Predator perfectly. But beyond that, you can spot traits of other legendary warriors throughout history. Sparta is the perfect mirror in which the Yautja can be seen. Sparta lived by the rule that the society mattered more than the individual. From birth, a child belonged not to their family but to the state. The darkest and most famous Spartan legend tells of weak and sick infants supposedly thrown off a cliff. Historians still debate whether it really happened, but the message is clear. If a child was weak, ill, or unfit for war, their life was seen as useless. Sparta didn't tolerate weakness, physical or moral. It was a cult of strength, survival, and absolute discipline. And if you recall the setup of Predator Badlands, Dak is essentially the same unfit child, cast out by his kind. He's sent to the planet as if they're getting rid of him, a direct echo of that myth. Among the Yautja, weakness is shame. Failure is a mark. If a young predator isn't strong enough, exile or death awaits. Their initiation rites mirror the Spartan tradition, trials of pain, hunger, and cold. Yautja have their own test: hunting dangerous beasts or fighting stronger foes. Fail and you're not worthy. Even their idea of a worthy opponent is a reflection of Spartan honor. Spartans respected brave enemies but saw killing the defenseless as a disgrace. The predators act the same way. They despise easy prey. But Spartan warriors weren't the only inspiration. The Yautja clearly carried the spirit of the Japanese samurai. Just compare this shot of the predator from Badlands to this image. The resemblance is obvious. The segmented armor, ritual ornaments, and the terrifying mask turning the face into a demonic snarl. The samurai's Mempo mask and Kabuto helmet weren't just for protection. They were meant to inspire fear, to extend the warrior's spirit. Likewise, the predator's mask isn't just technology or armor, it's part of his identity. The samurai also had their code, Bushido, the way of the warrior, built on discipline, honor, devotion to duty, and readiness to die for it. That's why in Badlands, the predator wields a sword, a clear nod to the katana. Even the word Yautja faintly echoes Yakuza, Japan's organized clans. There's another culture that strikingly parallels the Yautja, the Mongol warriors of Genghis Khan's empire. They were perfect hunters. Their entire upbringing revolved around survival and warfare. Boys learned early to shoot from horseback, hit targets at full gallop, and live off the land. Mongol warfare was hunting turned into imperial art. Their endurance was legendary. They could travel vast distances, survive extreme conditions, and live with almost nothing. In that sense, the predator is the same nomadic spirit, just taken to the stars. And again, the visual echoes: Mongol masks, armor, shamanic totems. It's no coincidence that the trailer featured the Mongolian folk band, the HU, and their track Wolf Totem. A perfect nod to the warrior rhythm at the heart of the predator's world. If you watch that music video with the endless steps and compare it to scenes from the movie, it's clear the connection wasn't accidental. The music in the film clearly draws from Mongolian folk motifs. As you can see, the alien's image blends several cultural layers at once. But as it turns out, the Predator isn't the only fascinating character here. For many viewers, the android Thea played by Elle Fanning became even more intriguing. The attempt to merge the two biggest sci-fi franchises began back in 1990. That's when Lieutenant Mike Harrigan first boarded the Predator ship and spotted this skull. So the connection between these two universes was hinted at as early as the second film. However, neither Alien vs. Predator nor Requiem managed to win over the fanbase. Die-hard fans don't even consider them canon. In Predator Badlands, the creators decided to hold off on bringing the Xenomorph and Predator together again. Yet they still found a clever way to connect the worlds. Not through the creature, but through the androids. And surprisingly, it worked quite well. According to the plot, Thea is a next-generation research android built to survive in extreme conditions and explore hostile worlds. But as the story unfolds, she goes rogue and becomes entangled in a conflict between the exiled predator Dak and his clan. Thea turns into an unexpected ally, helping him survive the deadly wastelands of a distant planet. Unlike other Weyland-Yutani androids, she has emotional empathy, designed to help her connect with other beings. She becomes a bridge between human and alien worlds, embodying the theme of artificial intelligence striving for humanity. The core chemistry between them grows from their opposing natures. Thea's compassion and gentleness contrast with Dak's brutality and discipline. It's a classic dynamic, but as we can see, it still works perfectly. Thus, the lore of Predator and Alien finally merged into a single universe, seamlessly without rejection, even with a sense of admiration. Badlands achieved what few expected. It revived an aging franchise, connected two growing universes, and blended them into a light, visually rich adventure reminiscent of Avatar. But the experiment didn't please everyone. Many longtime fans, to put it mildly, refused to accept these changes, for quite understandable reasons, which we're about to discuss. The frustration of longtime fans is quite understandable. If the problem could be summed up in one word, it would be Disney. The thing is, Disney stopped being a harmless studio that makes cute cartoons long ago. Today, it's a true predator in the film industry, pursuing an aggressive strategy of acquisitions. Both Alien and Predator now live under the Disney umbrella. And that matters more than it seems. Disney isn't just a studio, it's an entire ecosystem. Films, merchandise, theme parks, attractions, and endless toy lines. And the most curious part? Toys often make more money than the movies themselves. Some even joke that Disney films are just expensive commercials designed to boost toy sales. The studio's logic is simple. For a brand to survive, it has to be safe, recognizable, and marketable. Ideally with a PG-13 rating. A character must be not only fit for theaters, but also for a child's bedroom, right next to teddy bears and Lego sets. Producer Gary Kurtz, who once worked with George Lucas on Star Wars, summed it up best. The toy business began to drive the empire. It's a shame. They make 3 times as much on toys as they do on films. It's natural to make decisions that protect the toy business, but that's not the best thing for making quality films. And that's exactly why a cute little creature suddenly appears next to the Predator. That's the core issue. Everything that falls under Disney's wing becomes tamer, safer, aimed at a broader audience. Even Predator suddenly dropped to a PG-13 rating. Some say it's just because Predator's blood is green and the android's is white, so technically there's no gore. But the film is actually brutal. But come on, try telling that to the kids of the 90s, who remember the first Predators skinning their victims and hanging them upside down for display. Or Schwarzenegger in Terminator, proudly flashing his bare backside. Or Schwarzenegger in Terminator, slicing open his arm to peel back the flesh and reveal the metal underneath. You mean to tell them that Predator Badlands is a violent film? Almost every cult sci-fi action film of the past had an R rating. That was the norm. Predator, Alien, all were adult, hard-edged films, never trying to please family audiences. That's why seeing a PG-13 slapped on the new Predator triggered such backlash. For many old fans, it felt like a step backward. Not because they crave blood and gore, but because the franchise lost its grown-up tone. Considering how much of the market Disney now controls, it's no wonder fans worry that cinemas will soon turn into family recreation centers. Like going to the circus used to be. We're slowly drifting into a world where the Terminator sews curtains, the alien becomes a tame pet, and the new Predator flies off to another planet to sort out his issues with an abusive father. If the original Predator was a nightmare for commandos, a ruthless killer inspiring terror, in Badlands, he's almost the opposite. A rough but likable guy, more like Drax from Guardians of the Galaxy. Tough, awkward, but deep down, a good pal. Despite everything, most viewers actually like the new Predator. Both the box office and the reviews prove it. Still, some greeted it with hostility, and both reactions make sense. The movie does things many fans see as sacrilege. Softer tone, lower rating, more adventure, less primal fear. But at the same time, it achieves what the franchise hadn't in years. It brings Predator back into the spotlight. It's once again a topic of discussion, drawing crowds and sparking debate. We can argue about artistic choices, Disney's formula, or the shift in style, and that's fair. Yet one fact is hard to deny. For the first time in years, the franchise isn't just alive, it's evolving. Maybe not the way old fans wanted, maybe not under ideal circumstances, but still moving forward. Yes, we've lost that raw 80s hunting vibe. The Predator is no longer the savage nightmare he once was for kids raised on VHS. But the alternative is worse, complete oblivion. And given the choice between extinction and a new, if imperfect, life, I'll take the latter.